Alright. Chapter 1159 of the One Piece manga just came out, and of course, we gotta go over it. Pretty funny story, but I was making the follow-up to my chapter review, and I didn't check Twitter the entire time because I was editing the video on my phone. I finally upload the video, and in the video I said something that got completely contradicted in this chapter. I instantly got spoiled on Twitter, so I know almost everything that happens in this chapter. And honestly, your mind is about to be blown. So sit back and relax. Every week a chapter comes out, I make a chapter review like this, and then a follow-up talking about you guys' reactions to the chapter. Make sure to subscribe. We got a chill vibe going on over here. I don't think you want to miss it. So of course, like almost every week, we gotta talk about the cover story. Well, I mean, maybe not, because there's really nothing going on here. The description says the group heads back to the flower capital, chowing down on some apples. Yeah, nothing to really note here, so we're just gonna skip past that. But one thing I want to say is, what else do we get from this cover story? Because there's no way Kozuki Moria was the climax of it. But yeah, we always slander this cover story, so whatever. Going into the chapter, its title is The Island of Destiny. We start the chapter off 39 years ago on Hachinosu, the pirate island, and we see immediately that the weather is ridiculously bad. This scene sets in, and we see a dead Don Marlin on the ground. Holy crap. The NPCs are asking if they looked everywhere, and then we get the direct confirmation that Don Marlin and, in quotations, the others were killed. I don't know who the others are, probably some more fodder. Apparently they were on guard duty last night, whatever that means, and they asked the Don couldn't protect her. It can't be. Who the hell did this? And in the last panels, we see Rox and Whitebeard react to something. Rox asking, "What are you saying?" And we find out someone kidnapped Shakky. It only took the perpetrating party a few hours, but they left behind no trace. The pirates were distraught and shaking with rage. We see in the background Mr. Ugly Guy. Oh my goodness, bro. I've been saying from the start this guy's ugly, and then he does this. Anyways, Gloriosa's crying. We see Hachinosu. Bro, look at Hachinosu in the background. That boy is furious, but the other pirates are crying, saying, "Please be okay, Shakky." And in the next panel, we see Roger pissed off. He rips the newspaper that he found out the news on in half, and he says, "Damn you, Rox, how could you let this happen? I'm gonna kick your ass." Words spread across the seas, and the people sank into deep despair. Bro, this is insane, Glaze. What the heck? The people sank into deep despair, their smiles fading as the world's economy ground to a halt for several weeks. What? We see Rayleigh's reaction to it. He's sweating, and you can actually see that he's shaking while reading the newspaper. This is actually kind of interesting because this entire time he's just not cared, but this is genuinely his feelings. Also, this is blowing my mind. Who has ever had this impact on the world? Other than Gold D. Roger and probably like Rox and all the legendary pirates. Who has this impact? Because I'll tell you one person who doesn't. Boa Hancock. I'm sorry, at any moment I have to drill this point in because it fries me that people try to compare Shakky to Boa, as if Shakky's existence doesn't manipulate the literal One Piece world. Her introduction was her making flowers wither and birds have hard eyes. Boa has nothing like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was saying I was with the Boa agenda, and I might still be on it, but bro, these people on the agenda, they blow my mind, honestly. 1 year passes. Yo, this is ridiculous. Anyways, we're on God's Valley, and Garling has come back to his, well, I would say wife. Well, I would say girlfriend. Baby mama. If you understood that reference, I love you. Anyways, she introduces Shanks and Shamrock to him and actually says that it's precious that they're twins. She says that they're his kids, and she asks, why don't you stay here with me? Garling replies saying, well, if we were to share a home, it certainly wouldn't be here. This island won't be around much longer. And very obviously, she's confused. And then he says, besides, I've already secured a worthy bride for myself and placed the order. She will be mine, provided I triumph in the upcoming tourney. And she's like, tourney? Before I go to the next page, what do you mean she's not crashing out over this? I was talking about this a couple chapters ago with Ida, Harald, and the queen. I forgot her name. Do these guys just not care if they get separated from their love? I genuinely do not get it. She literally heard this guy say, I, emphasis on I, ordered a new bride. And she's not worried about that? Yeah, nah, at this point, I don't think I'm bugging. I don't remember you guys talking about it in the comments, but y'all should let me know if I'm bugging because this makes no sense to me. Immediately in the next page, Garling stabs the mom and the babies are crying. Garling, with straight nonchalantness, just tells them to begin the preparations. We see the people that he's ordering get into action, and we see some of the citizens of God's Valley confused on what's going on. Navy ships from the world government? That's right, they've surrounded the entire island. Are they searching for some vile criminal? Get the children inside. The announcement says limit yourself to tranquilizer rounds, and if they don't resist, just capture them. We know why this is, because they need them to be alive so they can be the rabbits they hunt later. Yeah, this is just all effed up, man. We see someone ask the commander what the goal of the operation is, and the commander responds saying that it's a training exercise and to zip it. He's many years too early to be questioning orders. They continue trying to question it, but the commander just shook that he's getting pushback for the orders he gave them. We see a citizen ask what's going on and they get shot. Suddenly everybody realizes what's going on, they're getting captured and they're wondering why it is. And the same marine continues questioning what's going on. They're shooting regular civilians. The commander responds with absolute BS. Don't question it, there's no room for personal doubts when following military orders. Just focus on completing the mission. The first thing this reminds me of, which is kind of diabolical, is when Sengoku was on the Ohara incident. Yeah, that's what it was. And not for a single moment does he question what is going on. He tells Saul, I'm pretty sure, he's like, dude, it's orders from above, do not question it. Yeah, this is kinda crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Well, we find out why this specific marine is questioning what's going on, because in the next page we find out that this is a young Monkey D dragon. So this opens up a bit of a dialogue that I want to have in the comments, and I might use it for a video. I've been seeing this all over One Piece TikTok lately, and it's about the topic of every marine being evil. We basically see two extremes. There's Dragon and then there's this random commander. Dragon is being told these orders and he's like, why the hell are we doing this? But then the commander is given these orders and he's like, we're just gonna do it and do not question it. And like, I understand where this conversation comes from because, bro, if I'm given an order and it doesn't look right, why would I still do it without questioning it? That's why Dragon just got up out of there, because he was like, what are we actually doing here? Now, I'm not expecting these guys to go start a revolutionary army like Dragon did, but a teeny bit of autonomy can suffice, because how are these guys genuinely just doing these inhuman things? Yeah, I gotta have that conversation in the comments. I might take it for a video. It depends. But yeah, let's get going. We see Dragon continue to actually carry out his orders, and he shoots the tranquilizers at the citizens. We see him think about how if it's a tranquilizer round, it shouldn't kill anyone. And then in the background, they're shooting sleeping gas at everyone. And you can see him sweating and looking into the distance. We switch perspectives to a Navy prison ship transporting slaves. And we see Guinea and Ivankov on the ship. This is what was happening before they got to God's Valley and when we saw them in Kuin's flashback. I think we all remember Guinea leaking information, and that's exactly what she was doing on the slave ship, which is kind of impressive. But the other people on the ship are talking about how they shouldn't do anything rash because they'll get punished as well. And then we see Ivankov get insanely mad because they've lost their will to actually fight at this point. He says, "Moron, do you want to die with no knowledge of where they're taking us? You need to try if you want to be saved. Miracles are not so easy to come by." Someone tell me in the comments, is Ivankov the only character in the entire series to have this kind of dialect? Like, what? Bro, this V thing kind of throws me off, but it's kind of cool at the same time. We see Kid Kuma looking at them and telling himself that there are still slaves with spirit. We switch perspectives again to the Cypherpole Intelligence Bureau, and we see Morgan's from all the way back then, and this guy still is in his devil fruit form. Apparently Guinea's been sending intel to Morgan's directly, and Morgan's is using it as a bargaining chip against the world government to get pay, and he tells himself, "I'm gonna leak this anyways." I don't know who this guy is for them not to have erased him already, but dude, he is literally the reason God's Valley got so insane, because he says, "Fools, I'm gonna leak news to Pirate Island either way." In the next page, we see everybody's reaction to Shakky still being alive. Mr. Ugly Man is shook about this. He says it smells fishy. Can we really trust this source? Actually, this is crazy. He killed one of the Rock's pirates and no one caught him, and he's still on the Rock's pirates a year later. Now, you gotta respect him, to be honest, because I don't know anyone who could do this. Anyways, everyone is reacting to it. Apparently, she's gonna be a prize in a Celestial Dragon tournament, and Whitebeard adds some input that's kind of interesting. He says that the Celestial Dragon's human hunt, he always thought it was a baseless rumor. My question is how the heck this could have been a rumor if the people they were hunting all died. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna think about it too much. Anyways, Big Mom's looking at the news, and she's talking about how there should be some devil fruits up for grabs, and tells Kaido that he might be able to get one. She also thinks to herself that the fruits could be perfect for her kids. By then, I'm pretty sure she had Sparrow, the triplets, her eldest daughter, and yeah, I have no idea. I don't really care either. Wait, actually, I do kind of care, because what if her daughter actually got one of the devil fruits? That could be kind of cool. Did we see her devil fruit? Someone asks if it's a trap, and Rox tells him to shut up. He says, "If you got cold feet, you can just stay behind at the island. Let's move. God Valley awaits." I'm not gonna lie, Rox has some inspiring quotes. The other chapter where he put his ambition on the table and he told them, "Yo, if you don't believe Elbaf is the key to taking down the Holy Land, you can get lost, but I'll take you to the World Summit." Like, what? Come on now, you telling me you're not following him to war? In the next panels, Roger reacts to the news, and he immediately asks Gabon where's God's Valley, and Gabon says it's pretty far, but they should make it in time. Roger asks if the rest of the crew is with him, and Receive and Rayleigh reacts saying that of course they are. Roger also mentions that Rox is already on the move and that they can't let him get ahead. And we also see the scene from before where Garp realizes that Roger is going to be over there, so he goes as well. It was an unlikely turn of events, but this small leak led to the mobilization of all the toughest men on the sea. Next page, we see the Rock's pirates en route, and in their way is a giant ship. One of the people on board asks who cares, sink it, but Rox tells them to wait. Of course, on this gigantic ship, Harald is on it. They said your entire crew was obsessed with this woman. That's how I knew I'd be able to intercept you here, Rox. You know, if we fought without any regards for our own lives, we could sink your puny little ship with ease. See that vessel over there? It's a government surveillance ship. Rox replies after looking at it. He tells him, "So you're still trying to curry favor by playing the government's lapdog? You may be king of the overgrown brutes, but you're underestimating us. Are you really content to let the government sit back and watch as we tear each other apart? You're nothing but a giant lunatic clinging to your deluded version of progress. Why don't we talk it out? Just the two of us." Next page, they actually talk it out. "You must have an idea where we're going and what we're doing. Listen, this is for your ears only. I ain't gonna tell anyone else, not even my own crew." We see the onlookers, like the giants that sail with Harald and also Rox's crew. They're both confused on what they're doing, but then we get it. The insane reveal of this chapter. Rox's real name is Davy D. Zabek. Harald questions if his name really isn't Rox, And Rock says that he reckons the world government has been trying to erase that specific name for a long time. Of course, that's because it's tied to the lineage of the legendary pirate Davy D. Jones. The name still commands some influence in the underworld even now, but it's barely scraping by. I'm not sure if the timing was good or bad, but 2 years ago I had a kid. To keep him totally safe, I sent my family away, back to my hometown, and I told them to count on the Davy clan. Harald questions why he's telling him all about this, and then Zebek reveals that his hometown is actually God's Valley. Harald wonders if the world government staged it to just lure him in, but Zebek notes that the celestial dragons are all gathering there right now. They wouldn't want him crashing their party, and they just made a mistake. Still, it feels like destiny is pulling me in, dragging me back. Taking Shakky was their biggest blunder. As long as I get my wife and kid to safety, I'll be at peace with whatever happens next. But it doesn't feel like luck's on my side anymore, Harald. Lend me a hand. And then we get something that's kind of confusing to me. Harald says, no way, I'm gonna sink you right here and right now. And Zebek says, is that so? Bring it on. Harald tells his giants to not interfere. And then we see Harald's ship just get blown up. The reason this is confusing me is because in the spoilers it was stated that Harald lost on purpose. Now you could say that he did, but it doesn't say it here. Where did these people get this information from? Obviously though, I do think this has some merit, because why would Harald listen to that entire story and then immediately tell him to F off? That, like, there's no way. It's hard to believe, but every 3 years, the Celestial Dragons choose an unaffiliated nation rich in resources and turn it into a hunting ground where they slaughter all the native for sport. Dude, this is ridiculous. We see the citizens of God's Valley just crying, asking for help, and how can this be allowed? And in the final double spread of the chapter, we see everything going down. We finally see Shakky, and she's not like the other slaves. She's not dirty, she's not, you know what I'm saying? They were actually taking care of her. This entire part is just them introducing her and obviously glazing. But it gets interesting at the bottom when we see different dialogues from different families. We see someone order Summers to win her for the Shepherd family, and he replies saying, don't be stupid, I'm gonna make her my personal property when I win. Then Garling replies saying that she will be his wife and to quit dreaming. And then we see Gunko back then, and she had way longer hair. The family she's with respects her powers and says that with her there, they might just be able to take the clan war trophy. In the next 2 panels, we see Dragon find Shanks and Shamrock's mom, and Shanks and Shamrock. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, obviously she's bleeding, and she tells Dragon to help her. Take the kids off the island and don't let them take them. Okay, now this is kind of interesting because Shanks ends up in a treasure chest, and Shamrock ends up with Garling. I'm not about to jump to conclusions, but Dragon, do not fumble this. We actually see a 2-year-old teach, and his mom tells him that he has to survive. And the final panel of the chapter is something crazy. Every world noble knows the tournament features several super rare rabbits to hunt. This year we've not only secured a brat from the Buccaneer tribe, but for the first time in 800 years, we've also uncovered members of the Davy clan, obviously being Blackbeard. And of course, the chapter ends. Now this is a chapter I can actually rate a 10 out of 10. I will actually take this over the Loki chapter because this was really good. And even though, like the past 3 chapters, we got a ton of Shakky glaze, it actually kind of worked with this chapter. Zebek being from the Davy D clan, Blackbeard, seeing Garling just be despicable. I cannot put into words how much I'm hyped for this. Like, this is gonna blow my mind, I know it. Oda's gonna cook up something. Also, by the way, I was actually against the fact that Shakky was the reason for God's Valley, but I actually don't mind it at this point because we've got other interesting things going on. Sure, I'm pretty sure the Shakky thing is gonna be probably the main point for everyone else other than Zebek, but that doesn't matter to me. I want to see Roger, Garb, and Zebek just pulling up to the... Oh my goodness, dude! What did Stephen A. Smith say in that one clip?
If this brother had a few more inches, Oh, Lord, don't get me salivating and fantasizing about things. Oh my God.
But yeah, that was a crazy chapter. Honestly, just 10 out of 10. That's all I can say. What did y'all think of this chapter? Of course, let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.